Hey, it's Tuesday night, Total Schmidt Show, 6 o'clock. Kelly Terranova, today's guest. Let's do this. Hey, tune in every week as I travel the world and I talk to entertainers from all over the world. A lot of writers, a lot of comics, a lot of dancers, a lot of singers, a lot of comics, a lot of producers, a lot of tech people, a lot of comics, a lot of pianists, piano player type people. You know what I'm talking about. Musicians and lots of comics. Every once in a while, we'll throw in a comedy sketch, something like that, some music, some travel stuff. We'll even do a live remote from one or two of the ports that happen to be hanging out at.
That's it. That's the whole show. And I'm going to record it all and put it on the intraweb. Sometimes. Usually late. Always late. Maybe. I don't know. And weekly? No. Maybe. Sort of.
Either way, sit back, grab a beer, light a joint, and enjoy this week's episode of Schmidt Show. Hey, I'm doing today's intro from Juneau, Alaska. Look behind me. It's beautiful. It's like a natural, nice day. It's not the horrible yellow fluorescent lights you see in a crew cabin that you're going to see in this video today. If you're watching the show, it's Tuesday at 6. Thank you. Like the video. It would help me out a lot. You can see all the social media information above me, the information how you can support the show financially if you'd like to. All the content here on the Lenny Schmidt Comedy Network, including Total Schmidt Show, is free. But if you want to sponsor us financially or help us out, support us, you can do so. Just go to LennySchmidt.com, click the PAYIFUCAN button. If you're on the podcast platforms, thank you very much for tuning in, listening. Today it's Kelly Terranova, a good friend of mine. He's a comic out of Virginia. We worked with together on a ship not too long ago. Funny thing about this video, I let the kids from Westview do the audio, so you will notice immediately that there's a little bit of a muffled-ish sound through most of the audio on the video. It's okay. It's hearable. It's a good podcast. It sounds like Kelly and I are under a comforter at some points early on. Then at some point in the video, it'll be very obvious that there were some mistakes made. And you know what's cool? I'm noticing all this intro is my new glasses are transitioning to sunglasses while I'm outside. That's pretty cool. I've never seen that in the video. Anyway, check out the show. Watch it. Enjoy it. Tune in every Tuesday at 6. Tonight, Kelly Terranova. Thank you.
Right.
And this is the first time we've worked together in how long? When was the last time we worked together?
Oh, man. I don't even know. I mean,
I think it was late last year. I want to say October or November, maybe.
I think that's right. I remember I bumped into you
at the airport.
At the airport in New Orleans.
Yeah, right. That was the last time I saw you. Okay.
I'm going in and out.
Yeah.
And yeah, we wouldn't even work together. We just kind of, and I think I was coming here.
Right. That happens more often than not. I've had someone in passing. Yes. So it's nice to have a week with someone that I know.
It's fun.
You know what I mean? Like I told you, I had Vince Morris a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Someone to hang with, because most of the time, it's amazing the turnover they go over out here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been on ships?
It'll be 10 years this summer.
Okay.
So.
Do you like? Yeah, you mainly Carnival, or do you work for other lines too? Oh, no, you do. You do Norwegian.
Yeah, Norwegian. Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably 60 to 70% Carnival and 30% Norwegian.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's good. Just to give you a break, and it helps you appreciate something about the other one.
Yeah, dividing them up. People always ask me which one I like the most, and each one actually has its own perks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the shows on Carnival could be the best, despite what we just talked about.
Absolutely.
Crappy family show last night. But for the most part, you get way more freedom creatively at Carnival.
Oh yeah, and it's you can blow the roof off the place like in a comedy club.
Yeah.
At other places, it's more like a corporate.
Right.
Even when you do really well, it's. You know.
Yeah. Well, the levity ships are closed. Like those levity ships are closed.
I just did my first levity one, and you helped me prep for that.
Yeah, which is the same as it's like a club.
That was a very, very club experience, and I liked it. And they kind of take care of you there, which is nice.
They're good. You know, the weirdest thing more so on levity, it happens on Carnival, but by the end of the cruise, everybody thinks they know you. So when you start a show, it's like they're having a conversation with you. You almost got to be like, all right, let's reel in, people.
Yeah, we're doing this.
I got some structured stuff I want to do for you guys.
Right.
Cool. But I like, I like the balance of all of it, man. I like to work. Plus, I like to mix I think it's cool to diversify what I do.
if I do a 30-minute show everywhere,
Mhm.
I think it's just, I get bored.
Yeah, it was fun going back to having the time of a 45-minute show.
Right.
And even though on the smaller Norwegian ships I do the theater shows, there's a difference in a 45-minute club set and a 45-minute theater set. And I like having the intimacy of a club show and having time to structure a whole arc. Update.
I'm so excited. Yeah, but I like, I'm with you. I like the different, and they just started doing the 45s on the Levity. They were 30s.
Oh, they were? Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know
well, they
that.
were 30s, and then there was an opener. And then
right.
They got rid of the opener even before COVID.
Yeah.
And then after COVID, I knew they weren't bringing the opener back. And then they slowly crept up to 45 minutes. Like, that's the last time I worked for them. It was 35, then 40, and I go, oh, now we're doing 45s. All right, it was just 7 45s in a week is kind of.
Yeah, it was some heavy lifting, but it was, I liked it. I found that, because doing these 30s for so long, when I would go do a corporate and get to 45 or 50 minutes, I was tired.
Yeah.
It's like,
I can't handle these extra 15 minutes. They're killing me.
But I liked, even though I wasn't there for it, I liked the idea of having that opener. I think that a lot of places could use that. Because it's a great way to get someone seasoned into, because cruise work's hard, man. It's a high level of difficulty.
Right.
And it takes, the first 6 months, I didn't know what I was doing. I'd been doing comedy 20 years, or nearly, and I thought, man, it's not just chopping up your headlining sets. You got to still find that through line, the energy arc in there, and it takes a while to figure it out.
Yeah, right. This is a lot. I never understood it. The energy arc. My introduction to that is when I was a feature. I was always very high energy, and when I went from feature to headliner, I quickly realized I can't keep this for 45 minutes. That's insane. It's not. First of all, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's not good for a show.
No.
You know what I mean? They're not used to that power. And there's got to be some sort of fluctuation of energy, and you start to learn how to play with that a little bit more. And the cool thing about the ships and working different ships is there's different amounts of time, so you're doing it in different places.
Yeah.
But after you've been doing it like 20 something years, you can feel it on stage.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
And it's so weird how it just like in comedy clubs, the audience in Tulsa is different than the audience in Mobile.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how representative cruise audiences are of their home ports.
Regionally, right? Exactly.
Yeah. Like Miami, that's a kind of a national thing, and Lauderdale to some degree. But a lot of these, Texas ships are Texas ships.
Right. And New Orleans for sure.
New Orleans for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is probably, if people ask me the best support I like to come on, I like New Orleans.
Oh,
it's maybe because I'm a Midwest guy, but it's a lot of Midwest in New Orleans. You get some from the Southwest, but mostly a lot of
good folks. And what I like is there's a diversity to the crowd in New Orleans.
Right.
It's not and that you don't always get that with other ports. I started doing comedy in Baltimore, and that was a very diverse. And you learn how to work the white rooms, you work the black rooms, you work the mixed rooms, and mixed rooms are always the best.
Right. Yeah.
And I always in New Orleans you get that more than, say, like Jacksonville or
100%.
or even Canaveral to some degree, or Mobile. It's a different animal.
Well, plus length of cruise is a big deal too. Like if it's a 3, 4, 5 day,
Yep.
you're going to have a combination of richer people and then maybe middle class or people that don't have the most money. Financially, they're huge, or economically.
Right.
When you get over 7 days, then most of it is probably diamond members or people that have a little more money.
They have the money and they have the time.
Sure, that's what. Yeah, you can only afford 7 days.
Sure.
And then like Seattle's another port that's kind of like a worldwide port. Because it's all Alaska. And actually, and that's worldwide because I see people from Australia come in and China because they want to go to Alaska. And that's such an attraction.
I've got a month of that coming up. I'm really looking forward to that.
I love Alaska.
Yeah.
I got 2 more in the Caribbean and I go back to Alaska in 2 weeks.
I checked on our schedules.
Yeah?
They are diametrically opposed.
Ah!
We We are not in the same place.
Dude, you, me, Jason Blanchard, my Trisha Kelly's a good friend of mine. Really, she's
I'm on
awesome.
the Facebook page with her now.
Yeah,
I got invited to that.
I miss her by a day in every report. I'm like, how is it possible I'm missing all my photos like one day?
Yeah.
I'm literally the day before. Like, son of
Yeah, no, we're not even the day before. We're like when I'm in Juneau, you're in Seattle, and vice versa.
Right.
It was just keep passing.
that sucks. I see more friends at airports than I do anywhere now.
That is always fun. It's the unexpected. Bumping into someone unexpectedly,
Right.
is just the best.
In fact, Jason, I just brought up Jason. We had lunch in Chicago just a few months ago, out of the blue. We're like texting, we're taking off. Where are you going? What are you doing? I have a layover in Chicago. Dude, I have a layover in Chicago. We had just an hour and a half. Sat down, one beer, sandwich.
That's nice.
No, it's good when you're traveling all
I
day.
bumped into him in Cozumel the other day.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
I keep missing in the right places, man.
Very good.
And I'll send messages out, see where people are.
Yeah.
So where do you head after this?
I'm home for I get home Thursday night, Wednesday morning, go to Seattle.
Yeah.
So this, and I'm gone for literally.
You got a month, right?
Literally, with 4 7-day cruises, so 28 days, which is like about the longest I'm ever out.
Right.
We'll say, COVID, I guess we were out after COVID sometimes for 4 or 5 weeks, but
Right.
so. And because it's Seattle, I mean, and Alaska, I look forward to that. I mean, being back in Alaska every 7th day, and in Seattle every 7th day, I just think that's a hoot.
That's great, because on turnaround day, are you on the guest manifest or crew manifest?
I'll be on the guest manifest.
Okay, that's even better, because I get off at 8 in the morning.
You get off and you can go.
And I go take care of computer stuff, and I always get something to eat. In Seattle, there's
so many places.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff to do.
Yes, there is.
And you're right by that by the pike there. So.
Yeah, and in Seattle we dock downtown.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, and I love Seattle, dude.
Oh,
I almost caught a ball game last time I was in there.
Really?
I wanted to go, man. Because I figure I'm like, if I go, I hate to leave early, but I would have to go.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try and do that next time. I was looking at the schedule. I'd love to catch. I've never been at a stadium. And I almost did in Baltimore. I'm always worried about getting caught up.
I live in Annapolis, Maryland. From my front door to the pier in Baltimore, it's about 25 minutes.
No way. That's great.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
And and after COVID, I got that for a few weeks, because usually that's a ship where you would join, because Baltimore's so far away, right. You would join in the Bahamas somewhere and then ride back to Baltimore.
Yeah, back to front.
And back to front. And only one time in like 8 years did I ever leave the ship in Baltimore.
Right.
And I was home in a half hour. It's great.
Yeah.
I was home by 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's great.
But during COVID, they had us on, continually. And so I called the port master and got a parking pass, and he let me park, or actually she let me park right there in the enclosed parking. So I get off the ship, I drive home, I do my laundry. I was home for
that's awesome.
5-6 hours, and then go back to the ship. It was great.
See, that's cool.
But what I was going to tell you is the first time I did, at the time, it was the Carnival Pride in Baltimore, and I was with Merle Hobbs.
Right.
Merle's big Orioles fan.
Okay.
So we walked down to Inner Harbor. I had to get breakfast or something, and there was like a 1 o'clock game at Camden Yards, and he said, he said, you can walk on back. I'm going to try to get into this game. He went to the game for like 3 innings.
Oh, did he really? Yeah, but dude, when you get half a day off,
sure.
You want to do something. I mean, most of our time is spent killing time. A lot of times,
Yes, indeed.
You just sit around.
That's right.
So you can get up and do something like. That's why I like Long Beach. Well, Long Beach had a similar thing for me. Long Beach.
Oh yeah.
It was a little bit longer. It's 45 minutes from the port.
So.
But the cool thing there was, and it's happened more than 2 times, the girls would come down and have lunch with me.
That's great.
So they'd be down there waiting for me, and I would just get off and we'd go grab something to eat.
The Long Beach public transit system is just the best.
Yeah, they're great. You jump on that red bus.
Yes.
No charge.
It's just great. And it's that loop, and it just where you're going to go. It was. I remember I was you just had the West Coast hurricane, which is kind of rare.
Oh, yeah, just recently, yeah.
And the last time that happened was in about 2018, and I was on a ship in Florida, was supposed to fly to the West Coast to join, I think it was probably Splendor, to join a ship.
I did the Splendor ton back then.
In like Cabo or someplace, and ride back to Long Beach, back to front. And I flew from Lauderdale to Atlanta. I got in Atlanta. I checked my phone. I just got on the plane, and it was the office, the Carnival corporate people saying the ship is not going to be able to dock. Can you get off the plane? And they had literally just closed the door. So I flew all the way to Cabo, where I got off, went through customs, went through immigration, and then right back to ticketing. Got right back on a plane. I was on the ground like 45 minutes,
Right.
and they flew me to Long Beach, where I was going to wait for a day and then go to Catalina and meet it. Anyway, this ship left Long Beach on a Saturday. It didn't dock until San Diego on Friday.
Oh, geez.
They could everywhere. I was like one step. I couldn't get to the ship. Then they put me. I was in Long Beach at that real nice hotel. That's I can't think of the name, but it's right down there near the Queen Mary.
Right, yeah.
It's a real fancy. It's a real nice hotel. And
They put you in a nice hotel.
they put me in a nice hotel for like it ended up being like 4 days.
Wow.
And so I went to Disneyland. I mean,
It's like a 4-day vacation.
it was great.
Yeah.
But so you never know. You never know.
No, I've always loved that when they've had a problem getting you somewhere, and they just put you up, and they go, "We'll figure it out."
We'll figure it out.
So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, that's fine. I remember we were coming out of Alaska once, and it was me and Geechee,
Oh, okay.
and we're in Skagway. Remember you could fly to Skagway?
Oh God, that's a 50-50
yeah.
shot. If
So
you
it was-
believe or not.
So we get off, right, so we get off we're there early in the morning, and Mary was still around back then.
Yeah.
Mary and Edie was handling travel. So they canceled the first flight, and this was a week after there was one of the planes flew into the side of the hill. You know what I mean? Every year was one or two planes flying to the side.
Yep.
It was creepy. So me and Geechee there. They canceled the first flight, second flight, third flight. And then it's getting to a time thing now, because now you're 4 hours behind
Right.
Miami, and they got to make the decision what we're going to do. So I call up Mary, I go, "What are we doing? What do you want to do?" She goes, "Well, check and see if they think the later flight's going to go." And I asked the guy. He goes, "Well, what do you think? We've canceled 6 flights."
Yeah.
So I go, "I'm pretty sure it's not going to go." And she goes, "Well, you have a choice. You can stay there and try to make it. We can book you a hotel maybe, or you can get to Juneau. There's a ferry.
The ferry.
And
Yes.
we'll put you. We will get you a hotel in ferry or a hotel in Juneau, and you can fly out of there." She goes, "But it's got to be you make the call. You decide whatever you want to do." You go, "But one of the options was to wait it out, and then we'd have to sleep in the airport."
Yeah, which is not luxurious.
It's a small. No,
It's
the
like a
airport's
post
smaller than
office.
this. Yeah, it's like this. Yeah. So and Geechee's freaking out. I go,
Oh, yeah.
dude, it'll work. You know, Geechee. He's like, "I don't know what we're gonna do." I go, "I don't know. We'll figure it out. Relax." So at some point, I made the judgment call. I go, "Oh, we're gonna take the ferry. We're gonna go to Juneau." And well, I don't. What do we? I go, "Look, I'll pay for it because he had money or whatever, a card." I go, "I'll just pay." "Well, they're gonna reimburse us." I go, "I don't care at this point. I go, I'm not standing in the airport all night. I'm sure they'll reimburse us.
Yeah.
I need to get to a hotel."
Yeah.
So I paid for the ferry. We took the long one. There's a short one.
The short one, the fast one, yeah.
Yeah, we took the long one, which is 5 hours.
5
I think.
hours.
And it's not bad. You get USB ports and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And they have Wi-Fi. Technically, it's shit Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But so we get in, and it's raining. It's heavy rain. We get caught in the heavy rain. They closed the terminal, so it was kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But eventually, we got where it was a good thing we did because they canceled the flight.
Yeah.
Never made it out. There were no more hotels in town. You know, that's another thing.
Yeah.
When you travel like that, you got to look at what's available in
What's
town.
available.
You know, I did.
Morning wood.
Yeah, the morning flight. What I did with that one years ago, back before I did shift, when I used to take the Greyhound from one side of the country to the other.
Okay.
And it was going from Chicago to Seattle, and we got caught in a snowstorm. It was Wall. I remember it was Wall Drug. You remember Wall Drug?
I remember the bumper stickers.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Wall Drug?
Is that South Dakota? Or is that?
Yeah, South Dakota.
I've seen like things on TV about it. I've never been.
You got to go there once, man. I mean, and now maybe not so because you're not driving on the road. Like I lived on the road for years.
Yeah,
so I was all over the country. So I hit Wall Drug always because they got. But when we got hit in Wall, and it was major snowstorm, and I wanted to bring out bus. And the first thing I thought to myself was, I'm going to get a hotel because I don't know what's going to happen, and it's very possible we're not leaving. So I went in and literally got the last hotel in town, the last room. And I went and sat on the bus and waited and waited. They go, "We're not going anywhere." So everybody went to the hotel. They couldn't get people something to the bus. Not me. I wanted to go to the hotel. You know, when you're traveling like that, you start to learn.
You tune in to those things, having plan A, B, and C.
Yeah.
And it's just some experience. That's what I have long said. And then this is whether you work, you know, like road comics, like we did for years and years and years.
Yeah.
Or whether, you know, as you move up and you're doing ships or you're doing corporates and you're flying around, we do the shows for free. And they pay us to travel.
Yeah. Everybody's
absolutely true.
That's 100% true.
That's my hobby. I don't hunt. I don't fish.
Yeah.
I collect frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
And all the different things, and figure out the lounges, the lounge situation. I know the lounge situation.
Yeah.
And you know, am I going to make this status this year? Am I not? Do I need to swing some, you know, try to swing some later flights over here?
Do you need to buy a flight at the last minute? Just to, you know, right.
Absolutely.
But the lounge stuff, I mean, well, I just recently got that Amex card, so I've had that for about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And so I get that Centurion lounge.
Oh, that's nice. That's the one that that Jimmy Della Valle's always
Yeah,
talking about.
right.
He's like their corporate ambassador.
I know.
How is it?
It's phenomenal. It's perfect. The people complain. First of all, the lounges are really busy right now, so people complain.
It's always the lounge experience has changed.
Yeah, but it's still worth it, because sometimes I go in there. It's not even about the food.
No,
it's about free Wi-Fi. I get a cup of coffee.
It's about a little bit of space.
Yeah.
And a little less noise for me.
Yeah.
I swear.
Because sometimes I'll have 4 hours to kill.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
4.
And you can join, like, also through Amex, you get the Centurion automatically, but you can get the priority.
priority.
Pass, right? And then I got a thing in Puerto Vallarta. I use that lounge. So there's international lounges that you can stay at. That make a difference. And really, for 80% of them, the food is crappy.
Oh yeah, it's not like you said. It's not about the food.
Right.
I'd like to get a cup of coffee, but it's not a
Now,
deal
the
breaker.
Centurion lounge has really good food.
I know in Miami, Michelle Bernstein, who was a pretty famous chef, who I knew from.
Oh, it's off chef. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I made the one in Seattle all the time too. That one in Seattle, and they just remodeled it. It's upstairs. You know where the food court is in Seattle?
Yeah.
The giant. It's right upstairs.
Oh, I didn't know that was a lounge up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and but the biggest rule change they made this year, I guess, was you used to be able to bring in a couple of guests or something, and now you can only bring one guest, or you pay extra or something. So people lost their mind over it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I travel alone, so I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
That's fine.
It's always Admiral Club still brings a guest.
Okay.
Like I had Admiral Club. I finally bought it.
Yeah.
In the fall of 2019.
Okay.
And you know what happened in
March. The worst, dude. The investment. This is gonna be great.
And it was great. It was great for
Well, now they
5 months.
Did they give you a little buffer in the back end?
No, they did. But you know, we didn't come back.
You were traveling.
I wasn't traveling again till
a
summer
year and a half later.
2021.
Right.
And but I've thought about either just buying the priority pass and not doing. That's about $500. What's the Centurion's? What, $700?
No, it's. I think I want to say no. I think it's $395.
Oh, really?
I think that's what I'm paying.
Oh, wow.
I believe so.
Okay.
Because I got a card for my daughter as well.
Okay.
And I forgot that there was a charge for that. And because she traveled to Europe,
Wow.
so I gave her the card to go here. And this is just for other.
Oh, that's
stuff.
great. Because I know the.
I think that's right. It might be as
because-
high as 7.
Because the priority pass is not that great in the United States, but it's great.
International.
And all these little places in the Caribbean we go,
Yeah.
they all have priority pass stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a nice one in New Orleans. The club, the place is called the Club New Orleans. Baltimore has one,
Right.
and Phoenix has one.
Well, you know where it really comes in handy
Charlotte.
is for the Wi-Fi. Because I do a lot of work.
You do a
online.
lot, sure.
So, like, I can get a lot of work done. I mean, I'll sit down for 4 hours and upload videos, work my podcast, and work on my YouTube page.
I have to download a lot of porn. And
You can. And it's like that. It's very quick.
It's very quick.
Sure.
And that bodes well for me.
Yeah. And I only need a handful of 2 or 3 minute videos.
That's all.
Fine.
That's it. All
That's
good.
it. I don't need a 60-minute video.
No.
Nobody needs 60 minutes.
Come on, John Holmes.
Now, you said you lived on the road before you did shifts, man.
Yeah.
Were you out of?
I was when I started. I was in the Southeast. I was a Comedy Zone guy.
Okay.
I cut my teeth on the Comedy Zones. They had a ton of rooms.
Right.
I started.
Yeah, I never got in with them. Was that Shoemaker or was that?
No, it was Brian Heffron.
Okay.
And Joel Pace was his
I remember
main
Joel
booker.
Pace. Right.
And Heffron bought it from Brad Greenberg.
Right. Okay.
It was Greenberg.
Right.
Anyway, but they had, and I started as a I was a little older. I was like 28 when I started. The last time I actually started, I was 28, and so I got to middle pretty quick, and within a year, I got to kind of pick what I wanted to do, middling.
That's cool.
And then they started moving me up, and I found that you take what's left over when you get moved up.
Yeah. Right.
Also, all of a sudden, I was going from kind of picking this pretty nifty, 30-week schedule as a middle to take in what was left over as a closer.
Yeah, because he had his guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And it's nice to be able to break into that, but it took a while.
Right.
And so my last day job was in 2005.
All right.
That was my last day job. And after that, I tend to work pretty clean, so I did a lot of corporate work, and then within 2008, that recession, that wiped out a lot of corporate
Yeah, that
work.
hurt corporate gigs big time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, because they stopped doing the parties and stuff.
Yeah, and to some degree, a lot of that didn't come back in the same way.
Right.
So then we get to COVID, I said, oh, this is a little familiar, but it was even worse.
Yeah, right. It was even worse.
Yeah.
Well, because you're completely locked down.
I always told people I feel so lucky to be able to do what I do for a living, because I really enjoy it.
Right.
I mean, when I wake up in the morning and have a show that night, I look forward to it all day. I truly do.
Yeah.
That's the highlight of my day. And to literally overnight.
Yeah.
Remember when I woke up on March 13th, I went to bed with a whole lot of work.
Right.
And the next morning it was gone.
Yeah.
And you can't get it back.
Right.
Those dates don't come back.
Yeah.
So I never considered that was a possibility.
Right.
And what I found out was, whatever skill set that lets us do this, whatever combination of skills is not in demand anywhere else. I mean, unless you need to have a game show that needs to be hosted or something. But there's I guess you can apply it to sales a little bit, but I'd done that. I didn't want to do that, and I
hated sales.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
The only reason I could do it is I sold Auric vacuum cleaners. You ever heard of Auric vacuum cleaners?
Yeah.
A lot of hotels have them. They're lightweight. That's the thing. I was doing morning radio morning midday. But I was doing radio in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and it was kind of talk FM. We had a local morning show, Dr. Laura and Rush in the midday, and then local in the afternoon. And I hosted a weekly live show from a local restaurant in Rehoboth, Delaware. It's called Open Mic Bayside. And we'd have different newsmakers come on, but there were a set of sponsors. It was the bait and tackle guy, and the cell phone guy, and a realtor, and a financial investment guy. And they signed up the new Auric guy, this young guy from West Virginia. I'm from West Virginia. And by young, he was in his early 30s, as I was. And he had opened an Auric store. Delaware has tax-free shopping, so it's a big outlet state. And he was a sponsor on the show. And because he wanted me to be able to talk about this, he gave me an Auric. He said, take this home, use it. Actually, in those days, he probably said, have your wife use it, which we wouldn't do now.
No, right. Your wife will love this.
But it did what they said it did. I found it very easy to talk about. We did little impromptu live ads. We vacuumed up stuff at the restaurant. I mean, it was really a decent vacuum. And so then and I was doing stand-up mostly in Baltimore and Wilmington, Delaware, a little bit in D.C., and I was working 6 days a week at the station, and it was getting to be a problem. If I wanted to go out of town and work, I had to swing days off, and it was getting to be a problem. And so one day I'm reading his live copy on the show, and they're looking for a manager. And I kind of pulled that aside, and I talked to him. I said, what would this look like?
Right.
And he said they were very supportive of the comedy. They loved it. They said, as long as you average 40 hours a week, we don't care.
Right.
And so that's when I did that from 2000 to 2005.
Nice. All right.
And that was my last day job.
Wow, right on. All right.
So, I mean, it wasn't like sales even, because I liked talking about it.
You liked it.
I believed in it. It wasn't like I was,
Yeah, dude, that's the key, because when I did a bunch of telemarketing gigs when I first started out, and I couldn't do it. I was bad at it. I was bad. But there was one company I worked at, it was videos, and our job was to sell, this is back when there were videos. It was our job was to sell videos to video stores and tell them they could make money off these videos.
Okay.
This video will rent a lot. That was kind of our hook.
Okay.
But we had so many crappy videos that we just were selling. I'm like, I can't sell these crappy videos. Nobody wants. And they would send out a video. Guys that were successful would send out a box of videos.
Yeah.
And they'd come back a week later because they didn't want them or whatever. But I managed to somehow, I sent out flyers to people. And guys would be like, don't send out flyers. It's a waste of time. Because this was kind of a hard sell thing.
Right, right.
But I couldn't do it. I'm like, I can't. So I found the best videos that we did. That we had videos I knew that did well, that were rated good,
that actually did.
And I go, here you go. This will rent. This is good. So this woman calls me on the phone. I'll never forget. Her name was Brenda, and she's from Video Express in the Southeast. And I'm like, hey, what's up? We go over the flyer. She goes to order videos. Turns out she runs all the Video Expresses on the East Coast. Wow. And she made the biggest order we'd ever had. So I'm writing down all these orders, and now guys are walking over going, "What, are you sure she asked for you? Was it you?"
Yeah.
And she's like, and she heard him. She's like, I specifically asked for you because you sent flyers, and I don't have to fight a guy on the phone. And,
All right.
Okay, so my deal after that was, I knew when I would come in once a month to talk to her and make sales with her, and I'd make money off that sale, and that was how I survived early on.
Wow.
Until we reached a point where we have no more good videos.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right, and there was one other video place I got on board and did it. And they got so mad at me because I made money. I sold them that way, but their deal was power sell stuff because a lot of times they would nail these mom and pop stores,
And they would just
get them and they wouldn't send them back, and they get screwed with these videos.
That's like the old Columbia record and tape.
It's exactly right. Yeah, it's a whole You would bank on the fact that people won't send the products back or whatever.
That's how I ended up with 5 copies of of Roy Orbison's greatest hits.
Yeah, I joined that club. There were a couple of those, like 3 of those I joined.
Yeah, for a penny.
And they keep sending them. Yeah, that's where they got me, was when they would send you one 3 months later, and because then they would pick for you, and you go, oh no.
You had to send that card back, or you automatically got whatever.
What they thought you were like.
One of my first bits, and I'm just remembering this now. One of my first bits that I wrote was about the Columbia Record and Tape Club, and later CDs. But I mean, it was I can't remember the details now, but I remember that was one of my first. Something about the penny, because you were supposed to tape a penny to.
Yeah, you had to tape a penny to the thing.
It was like, who gets those pennies?
Yeah,
I can't remember what it was, but yeah, and asked someone today about that, they would have no idea.
Yeah, no, that's so far removed. Nobody would remember.
Yeah.
Well, geez, nobody's doing records or DVDs.
Oh no, it's all in your pocket.
Did they send albums ever on that deal?
Yeah, early on.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. But I got albums early on. I did get cassettes. I bought Billy Joel's 52nd Street. Okay. Like in every media. I had it on 8-track. Yeah, that's early on. Well, I didn't buy that. My parents bought that one. Right. But I had an album, had a cassette, had the CD. I bought it on iTunes later. I bought that album 5 times.
That's great.
And it's worth it.
It's a great album. No, it's a phenomenal album. Yeah. No, it's you know what I missed too? I missed albums, man. I missed the album.
Oh, they are. Well, it's vinyl's back.
Yeah, I know.
It's very artisan.
Yeah.
It's very curated and bespoke.
Right.
But no, my kids never. I have 4 kids, and they never really. We didn't really have a touchstone culturally. They like the Beatles, that kind of stuff. But I had pared down my vinyl collection a couple times before they got a hold of it, and they had a draft. I said, you can have these, and they went through and they chose. I'll take this one. I mean, in order.
Oh, right on.
And so to split up, and there was one album that they didn't take. And it was a Bill Cosby album.
Oh no, really? Was this post?
Yes, this was recently. Yeah, and it just sat there. It sat there. Everything else went.
Dude, that's my daughters are really into. I bought them turntables for Christmas, and they got into albums. And my oldest was really into Frank Sinatra.
Oh,
and they actually have a really cool ear for music. My oldest really doesn't like a lot of too much of the new stuff. She likes. There's something she's listened to recently. It's not techno, but it's close. Okay. But she's really into Sinatra, Dean Martin, old school stuff. And my youngest is really into, and my youngest is into Stevie Nicks. And I took my oldest to see Billy Joel. And I bought them Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks tickets for Christmas. Nice. But they have they have a great ear for that.
That's great.
We'll drive, I'll just pick something, and they'll put in something. My youngest is into Pink Floyd. I mean, I'm amazed. I'm like, this is really cool.
That's great. And
I'm really happy about it. I'm like, oh, thank God. I mean, she still listens to the crap, too.
Yeah.
But not as much. And they're smart, because from the moment they were kids, I let them pick the music when I drove in the car. You know, I really never was like, I'm not listening to this.
Yeah.
I just let them pick whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
But every once in a while they would play a song, and I would go,
Oh.
what is this?
Yeah.
Because there's one of the songs about, it used to be when we listened to music younger, everything was innuendo.
Yeah, right.
There's no more innuendo.
No.
They just come right out like, I'll shove my dick in your ass.
Right, yeah.
Whoa, whoa.
Wet ass put. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no shove my magic in your pleasure plate.
No. Yeah. At least, was it Rihanna with the disco stick? Was
Yeah,
it, or is that,
yeah.
or
Wet
the
Ass-
umbrella and those these.
Who did the Wet Ass Pussy song?
That's a little outside my ouvre. I don't know.
That's one of the girls.
That's what someone who does a bit. Sweeney does a bit about that. About that.
Someone did a great bit because right around the time when that song was number one, the song, the Christmas song got canceled. The Baby's Cold Outside.
It
got canceled. And they go, we're canceling the song because it hints at rape. What do you mean hints at rape? What about this one? This comes right out. And that's number one on the charts right now?
But we're going to cancel the one about...
the one that could be interpreted as something.
I'm not going to let you leave. I'm creepy as hell. Yeah. But I love that. That's a great song. I mean, but I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those shaking my fist at the cloud guys. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. And you know what? If things were horribly imbalanced for ages and ages, and if we overcorrect a little bit, I'm fine with that. Let's overcorrect a little bit and see how it goes. I'm fine with that.
Right.
I really am.
Well, I don't like when they go back into. I'm a big believer in just change things and move forward. Don't go backwards and change.
Well, yeah, because those things were created.
But it depends on the things
in a different time.
Like some, but some. It depends on the thing.
Sure.
Like some of these early cartoons are horribly racist.
Oh yeah.
Cartoons. And when you watch them now, you're like, okay, this is not good.
Well, there's a kind of a twofold thing. There's the racism, and then there's the misogyny.
Right.
And they're both horrible and wrong, and always were wrong. But it's difficult to reconcile today how those things appear with how they would have appeared to an audience in 1950.
True.
It doesn't make it better or worse.
Right.
It's still wrong, but it's a different, like the Washington football team name.
Right.
Right. That was always bad. I think
that was almost kind of a white privilege thing. Where I don't think they understood.
Right.
Because when I was a kid growing up, I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But as I get older, you look at it. Oh God, you're right. That's bad.
Yeah, I'm willing to be an ally and even, like I said, even if you scratch your head and say, well, I'm not really sure that this is that bad. Well, that's not for me to say. That's my privilege speaking.
Right,
I don't get to make that call.
Right.
And I need to keep my house in order.
Right, that's a good point, because a lot of people, they'll say to me, or I've had this conversation before, like they'd be like, "Well, how would you feel if you were black?" And I'm like, "Don't, you can't, you got to stop right there.
Right.
There's no way I can wrap my head around if I was black. I'm 58 years old. I've been white for 58 years.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine
false equivalencies. Yeah,
right. You can't. And the same thing with women. Like I started to look at the world differently when I had daughters,
of course,
and all of that. And something that's happening now, like part of the reason we talk about it constantly and it's always out there is it puts it in the main light, so that means more people are aware of it, or more people are talking about it. And something I think that's a great example of that now is are you following this thing that's going on with the Spanish women's football team?
Yeah.
And there was a huge article that came out today about how now they started to file a motion against the whole thing. And for years, honestly, since I started working ships, I've been thinking to myself, I'm surprised more other countries aren't stepping up. Because you want to talk about misogyny, the Italians and some of these other. My ex was Croatian. She used to hate Croatian men and the whole. They're very misogynistic. And in Spain, to think that you could just grab a woman and kiss her in the mouth and that's okay. That's just how we are. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know,
it is, and it's nice to see that. I don't look at some people. I've heard comment about that and things like it is that we're losing something.
I don't know
if that's true. Good.
Yeah, I don't think we're losing anything.
No, we're
right.
not.
Right.
No, we're setting the table different,
Sure.
and that's good.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's another thing that you don't, like, I never noticed or looked at before without not being a woman. You know, I have daughters now. I have deep conversation. We have kids around the same age. It's interesting when they get old enough and they start to see the world, that you see the world through their eyes, and you start to think, we're both pretty close to the same person.
Yeah.
You know, late 50s, white guy. You know, so there's things they say now like, damn it, I never really thought about that. I never really thought about that. Never really thought about how that would affect you over and over, growing up as a child, into teens, into... You know,
and that's where it's a cliche, but that's where representation matters.
Right.
And seeing people who look like we've always seen people that look like us in authority. I mean, at least in America.
Right.
I mean, the presidents, and over and over and over again. So yeah, we saw that, and that was ingrained, but only in the last 30 years, with women in positions of political power.
Right.
And minorities the same way, probably the same, 30, 40 years. And in some ways, that's still wanting.
Oh, it's still and gays, homosexuals for that matter. There's gays and homosexuals that are in public office. That would have never.
Well, they were there, but
they just never said anything.
Right.
They were kept it quiet or hidden or whatever.
No, I think,
and there's a big result. A big part of that is the Roseanne kiss and the thing that Ellen and the things that changed.
that was a big deal.
What we watched on TV. Once you started to see these things on TV, and people.
Remember what a big deal that was when Ellen. We knew Ellen DeGeneres was gay, but when Ellen Morgan, her character came out,
that was really awesome way they did it.
It was a great scene.
It was a great scene.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
I remember I was on the radio. I did morning radio then. I called my mass media professor that I had in college, and interviewed him about what that meant in the larger picture.
Yeah.
Because it was on the cover of Time magazine, which used to really, again, that's another touchstone from another time, but when something was on the cover of Time, that was a big deal.
Yeah, but I don't know if people can continue to look back, or I don't think people look back and understand the significance of that. Maybe now they're starting to understand it more. Because back then, there's a lot of homophobe and people that just don't want it. And they, especially far-right Christian, well, that ain't right, God says this or whatever. You know, and for the significance of that scene and how it changed TV and where it's brought us today, where it's made kids comfortable. I can only imagine what it was like to grow up and be gay. I have friends that are in the closet or were in the closet. That had to be brutal, man. I can't begin to understand what that would be like. So the fact that they can feel comfortable coming out now, without being persecuted, at least by the mainstream,
it's huge, and it happened with I think just light speed in the over. You think about just even just in America over the course of our relatively brief history, but you went from not there being no real push for support of gay marriage, to we've got it in it felt like a blink of an eye, because people began, even the people who were staunchly opposed. It's different when you know someone, when it's your kid or your nephew or your grandson. It puts it in human terms, and you become more. I think you become more open, or it something changes in you.
Empathetic, maybe is
there's the word I was looking for. You
just understand more. Like with the girls and I had a conversation. We were at the movies a few weeks ago. We saw Barbie, and there was a promo for another movie. And there's a lot of movies coming out. The main love interest thing is about two gay characters. And I made a comment to my daughter. I go, every movie has gay characters in it, and that's the love thing. And my daughter goes, she brought up that point. And what, like, here's what I try to explain is, like, I'm not downplaying that and saying it shouldn't be like that, but I'm saying that there's enough room for all of that representation out there in film. So if I don't want to see that film, I just don't go see that film. But there's no reason why, in fact, we should have that film, because now if you're young and you're gay and you're 17, I mean, it's a lot going on in your mind. To see that represented on a big screen and on film, it's got to open up some doors for you. It's going to help you associate it more and understand yourself more, and be happy to see yourself on you being represented.
Exactly.
Because they hit it so much before that made it even more of a shameful, scared thing.
Like when I was watching 16 Candles, vibing on Molly Ringwald,
Right.
my buddy was vibing on Jake, Jake Ryan.
Yeah, right.
And so there was an extra step in there to have to picture what that would be, if he were playing a different character.
Right.
So when that becomes readily accessible, it's about, I mean, and again, all this sounds so trite. It's inclusivity. It's
Right.
let people, they just want to be, man.
Right. No, you should. There's no reason. Everybody there's this underlying thing that so many people and from every aspect want you to believe what they believe and do what they do. When you should just accept everybody for who they are, and what do you care? There's the thing I never understood about the homosexual thing is, what do you care if someone is gay or not? That doesn't affect your life in one iota.
No.
Just it doesn't seem silly. Just let it go. Let people live the lives they want to live.
That's right.
Well,
that's you and I just solved world peace.
All right, there we go.
Next,
what's the next problem? Let's talk about red meat. All right, so we have a night off, so we're going to dinner tonight.
Yes, we're going to dinner.
Yeah.
In the dining room.
Nice. Yeah, we're going to eat like gentlemen.
Yes, we are.
All right, man.
I got to find something to wear.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Let's wrap this up, man. I think
All
we're
right.
good. I hope
that was
fix the sound for the first 30 minutes. I think
well,
we're good.
just say Kelly was muttering. He wasn't really committed.
I'll fix the game. Kelly mailed in the first 30 minutes. Go right into the camera. What kind of social media you want to plug there, buddy?
How about really anything Kelly is funny? It's kellyisfunny.com, on Facebook /Kelly is funny, Insta /Kelly is funny, TikTok /Kelly is funny. It's that's my brand, and so drop on by.
Perfect. There you go. Thanks, Kelly Terranova. Thank you very much.
Thanks. It's a lovely studio.
Thank you. I put it together myself.
That's nice.
You're still watching? That's amazing. Nobody does that. Nobody, but you did. That means you want more. Pick one of these clips. Go for it. I dare you. Hey, also follow one of those social media thingies.